Hey, my name is Kara. I'm an ultrasound tech, and let's talk today about your most asked questions on hCG. Now, I have posted a few other videos on hCG before, but with the amount of questions that I keep consistently getting, even though those are not new videos, I thought I would make a video today addressing all of the most commonly asked questions. And before we get into the video today, be sure to check out the group that is linked in my bio for my expectant as well as current moms group. It is a great community if you are wanting to get a little bit of support from fellow moms, or if you are wanting to ask me a question, that is a surefire way that I will at least see it, since I don't really do direct messages on here. Anyways, back to the video. So one of the most common questions that I keep seeing on those videos is people telling me their hCG level and then asking me if it is appropriate for the amount of weeks of gestation that they are in. And to answer that question, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this hCG level chart again. So as a quick little refresher, hCG in pregnancy is just the hormone that is being emitted not from the baby, but from the surrounding tissues. And it should approximately double every 2 days in early pregnancy, and it will taper off mid to late pregnancy, depending on how your body is with hCG. There's no real number that it is going to taper off at or that it is going to stop rising at. But anyways, back to this chart here. So let's just say somebody commented on my video and they said, my hCG is at 3,000 and I am at about 5 weeks pregnant. I'm just using that as an example. Is that normal if I'm 5 weeks pregnant and my hCG is at 3,000? If you look over here at like the 5-week area, you can see that the levels of hCG can range between 19 to 7,340. That is a huge range. So for you to come over and ask me if this one hCG level is normal for the weeks that you are in, it's really impossible for us to tell whether or not that is normal or not. It is more important to look at overall trends. So like I had just mentioned, it should approximately double every 2 days, but not for everybody. For some women, it actually doesn't double until they're about like 72 hours-ish after that first reading that they got. So it doubles every 72 hours. And for others, it is going to increase quicker than that. But the whole thing around having just one hCG level and then asking if it is normal for where you are at, we can't tell. That is basically like the long and short of it. We cannot tell. You would need to look more at the overall trend. That is way more important than just looking at one hCG level. The only thing we can really tell from that is if you are within like the normal range, as in, within the range that you're in, let's say for 5 weeks, we can tell 3,000 is within that range. So that's like kind of a good sign ish, probably, right? And also we can tell the fact that you are pregnant because your hCG is over 5. Another question that I wanted to address is people asking if their hCG is over or under the estimated range of hCG from that chart, what it means. So if your hCG is lower than what you were expecting, as in it is underneath the estimated range of the weeks that you are in, it could mean a couple of things. It could mean that you are actually earlier than what you expected, and therefore your hCG is going to be lower. Hopefully that makes sense. Or it could also mean other things such as an ectopic pregnancy. It could also mean that it is going to be a non-viable pregnancy, etc. But again, we can't really tell exactly which one of these scenarios it is going to be until you get some more hCG level testing done, or until you come in for an ultrasound and we see what is going on with ultrasound. Same kind of thing goes for if your hCG level is higher than what you had expected. For the most part, it is because you are farther along than what you were anticipating, or it could mean that you are having twins, triplets, more than one baby in there essentially. Or it could also mean that there is some other underlying cause that is abnormal for that increased hCG, such as a molar pregnancy. Again, we can't really tell either way until you get an ultrasound or until they do more hCG and they're able to see what the overall trend is and what is happening that way. But usually it is the ultrasound that is going to tell you what is happening in there, and hCG is more of just like a generalized indicator as to whether or not you are pregnant and to see if the levels are rising appropriately. With all of that being said, though, everybody is different with where they are in the whole hCG level thing, depending on the weeks that they are in. And the trend of it is going to be different for almost everybody. I mean, again, in general, yes, doubling every 2 days is going to be the norm, but just because yours is not doing that does not mean that the pregnancy is not going to be viable. It could just mean that you are one of those people that the hCG doesn't follow that exact trend. And if your hCG is really, really low, as in we're talking about in the 0 to about 50 range, there is going to be a concern that it is a chemical pregnancy, which means that it is really, really early on, but is going to be non viable. So essentially, you tested positive, and let's say your levels are like 10. That is either because you are incredibly early in your pregnancy and we just happen to get it on like the day you conceived or like a few days after you conceived, and therefore that's why the level is so low. Or for the most part, it is usually due to the fact that it is a non viable pregnancy and it is not going to progress any further. Again, we can't really tell that for sure until we do another hCG level and we see if it is rising or not, or if it is either staying the same or decreasing. But I also have seen that question before too when people have asked me about a very, very low hCG level. And for the most part, it is something that is concerning, but there is also a chance that you had just tested when you were incredibly early as well. And if you guys have gone and watched those videos on hCG as well as this one and you still have a question, feel free just to leave it below and I will definitely do my best to answer it.